Hello everyone, this is Alonso Garcia, College Success Specialist for PSJA at UTRGV, and today I am bringing you a presentation on Degreeworks. So Degreeworks is an online evaluation tool that you can access through your Assist account. And so Degreeworks provides you real-time information on your degree progress. Um, by the way, I got this presentation from the graduation prep session. I figured that this information can be very useful to all of our students, so that's why I'm bringing it to you in a video format. This Degreeworks tool is supposed to help you speed up graduation by telling you exactly what you're missing. It does help streamline the graduation process. It notes on here that it provides real-time advice and counsel. It does, but I do have to tell you that I highly recommend that you follow up and still work closely with your advisor because they are the experts. They will find stuff that Degreeworks will miss. Okay, so if a class is named differently, if the class was you brought it in from another institution, Degreeworks might miss that class, and your advisor will likely not. And so definitely don't use don't solely rely on Degreeworks to match your degree progress. Definitely follow up and work with your academic advisor. Okay. So the other thing. Oops, here we go. The other thing that this tool provides, it provides information on pending requirements, but it also provides really cool hyperlinks that take you to the catalog information to help you find the best class and best fit. And we'll look at that in a second. So first and foremost, we'll look at the header, which is your summary information. It gives you a summary of where you're at and what your status is. Start off with what if. So if for some reason your major would be incorrect, we can look at the what if tool that would help you plan out a scenario to see if how a change would affect your degree progress. In this case, if you were to add a minor, how would that affect your progress? How many more classes? If you were to change majors completely, how would that affect you? So again, all of that is done through the what if tool. No permanent changes are made, so there's no need to worry about it. You just work with it. It's a planning tool, and if it works, you go ahead and go talk to your advisor, make the change. But if it doesn't, it never changes anything. The number 2 on here on your page, we have the institutional GPA. Many students are familiar with institutional GPA. Something to keep in mind: your STC classes will not be part of this GPA. This is only the GPA is only counts for classes that you've taken at UTRGV. Okay, so now something to keep in mind is that most majors have a specific institutional GPA. Most of them will be at a 2.0. Some of them will be higher. Some we even have one at 2.5. Okay, the other part of this is your summary of your degree. So you can see your degree, what college you're part of, what's your major, as well as minor, and whether you're core complete or not. Okay, all this information is on there. And the number 4 that we're going to see on there is your degree progress. So really important. As you complete requirements, as you start checking stuff off your Degreeworks, this progress bar increases and increases until it gets to 98%. Okay, if you're a senior, you're registered for every class you think you need. If that number is a 97, a 98, I'm sorry, if it's a 98, you're set to go. You're set to graduate. If for some reason it's less than 98, then there's something missing in there, whether it be a language proficiency or whether it be a class. So definitely watch out for that. So now again, this is for seniors that are ready to graduate. This student is at a 97%, so obviously there's something wrong or there's something missing that the student needs to complete before he or she is ready to graduate. Okay. Next page, legend and degree summary. So let's look at the legend. Legend is going to tell you what these symbols mean. So in this case, that white check with a green square means you've completed that particular requirement. A red outlined square means that you haven't completed that requirement. Okay. Unmet, and going to number 2, if you have unmet needs, and most students will, unmet conditions for this set of requirements, it'll tell you exactly what you're missing. In this case, for this particular section, so we're looking at degree in Bachelor's of Arts, they have a requirement of 120 hours. Okay, so 120 credit hours are required. You currently have 98, as outlined number 3. You still need 22 more credits. So again, it tells you very specific information of what you're lacking in this particular block. Again, we're only looking at degree in Bachelor's of Arts block. So you can see that this student still needs 21 advanced credits. You still need, or they have 21 credits and they still need 21 advanced credits to complete. So this 42 advanced credit requirement is still pending. Then we have your institutional GPA is below 2.0. So again, this student, their GPA for this institution is 1.52, and they need to have a 2.0. So that's a requirement that they need to fix before they're able to graduate. General education requirement, they are still missing the core. In other words, they're not core complete. So again, it's still on the not completed, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, as you're working to your degree, it's going to be red because you're still pending information or pending courses. So basically, we're just trying to check all of these off, and it'll be red while you're working on it. And then major requirements. This student has not completed all the major requirements for his degree, and again, not a bad thing. It is okay. Now, important, 98 credits have been applied to their degree. So this is a good way to see if you have a class that you possibly already took and you want to see why it hasn't been completed. You want to look at your degree plan, your Degreeworks, and see what's missing, what can be. Sometimes there's mistakes. Like I said, this is a system. It's a computer. It doesn't have the eyes of a human, so it is able to make mistakes. You may have taken a course at STC, it's slightly different, and you know it's not being applied. Well, that's when you contact your advisor and have them help you out. Okay, so in this case, credits applied must be greater than or equal to the credits required. Minimum of 120 credit hours are required in most degree plans, but some other degree plans might have 131 or maybe even more. So keep that in mind. And yes, this is a great tool, but always refer back to your roadmap and always refer back to your official degree plan. Okay? And again, talking to your advisor will definitely help you plan ahead. So now the core curriculum summary. So in this is the next block. So when you go in your Degreeworks, the next block will be the core curriculum. In this case, this student has the 2015-2016 catalog year. Again, they still have unmet requirements. This is a separate student, by the way, has 42 credits that are required, and they've only completed 26. They're pending 16, and that's not a big deal. Okay, so we look at that. We see that this student is pending, has completed the English 1301, the Rhetoric and Composition 1, has completed English 1302, has completed Math 1314, but they're still missing their life and physical sciences. When you see a still need in red, basically you're needing that requirement, and that in this case you're only needing 6 credits, and you get to choose from any one of these science classes. Okay, and this will typically, as long as your major is correct, it'll typically reflect the classes you're able to take. The student has completed the language, philosophy, and culture by taking one of the classes that matches here, and then finally creative arts. They can take any one of these classes to fulfill that requirement, and this will vary depending on your catalog year. So it's very important that when you're considering changing majors or considering changing catalog years, be very careful that if you change it, that it doesn't affect the classes that you're able to take for that specific component. Okay, any unmet condition is in red. And now the other cool thing about it is, if you notice, I know it's kind of hard to see where you're at, but these are actually blue links or blue letters. If you click on them, they're a hyperlink that take you to the course catalog, and they tell you when those classes have been offered. They'll actually, if you click on the catalog entry, they'll tell you what that course is about. So you might be wondering, what in the world is Biology 1488? You click on that, and it'll tell you specifically what class it is, the description of particular course, and it'll also give you any prerequisites that might be required for that particular course. Really handy tool, so definitely use that option. It'll also show you when they're being offered, and if they're offered in the next term, it'll give you a CRN number. You can jot that down and register for that class if you think that works for you. Okay. Um, and again, same thing, the credits applied needs to be greater than or equal to the credits required. In this case, they're at 26, they need to be at least at a 42. Next block, we're looking at the major. So this will vary. Again, this is a different student. This student has a major in rehab services. And so, number one, a minimum GPA is required in the major of 2.0. So they gotta have at least a 2.0. And this student has a 3.66, so they're actually in good shape. Now, in this case, this student requires not 41, but 51 advanced credit hours. And this student has completed the 51 advanced credit hours. What do they mean by advanced credit hours? They're talking about any classes that are 3,000 and 4,000 level classes. Many times the classes will be a part of your major, but many other times there might be electives that you choose to take. Taking low-level, entry-level electives might not be a good idea if you have a 51-hour advanced credit requirement. Okay? And then, of course, it does tell you what catalog year you are. And those catalog years are important because majors sometimes change slightly from one catalog year to the other. So if you're locked into a particular catalog year, even if they add more classes the next catalog year, you're actually locked in and okay to stay on that catalog year until you graduate, unless you have a specific requirement. Minor summary, very similar. You're going to have another block. You're going to have your GPA for that particular block. In this case, it's a 2.91. We look at all the green marks on the left-hand side. And this particular student has the 42 advanced hours required. They have the GPA of an institutional GPA of a 2.5. They meet the minimum of a 2.0 for the institution. They met the general ed requirements. In other words, they're core complete. But this particular student, they actually need a minor. So if your major requires a minor, if your degree requires a minor, you will see something similar to this. If it doesn't, you don't have to worry about it. But if it does, then you have to look at that. You might be wondering, how do I know if it does or not? Look at your degree plan. Pretty simple. Look at your actual degree plan from the UTRGV page, or talk to an advisor and they'll give you your degree plan that's according to your catalog year, and we will see if yours requires a minor or not. Okay, once you declare a minor, it'll show you what requirements are pending, what classes apply, what classes you need to take, or what options you have to complete the requirement for the minor. Now, very similarly, concentration, very similar. If it applies to you, again, not all majors require a concentration, but if yours does, you'll have a section on there, and it'll give you which classes you need to take to fulfill that particular concentration. Okay, so whether it gives you an option, it'll give you an option of advanced courses, and it'll give you the different options, or it might just be a just general elective. In this case, biology electives, they needed 16 hours of biology. They cut the rest of them off, but you have 16 hours of biology electives, and they were able to take that. Okay. Now, this next part gets a lot of students confused, and I really want you to pay close attention to this. So for language proficiency at UTRGV, you don't actually have to take a course. There's no need to either take a Spanish course or any other course. You are able to. You can take the actual course, or you're able to get credits through AP, CLEP, IB, or get credit for the language proficiency through WebCape. WebCape is a test offered at UTRGV. Current pricing is about $15, and if you meet the minimum requirement, which most students are able to complete, they basically get rid of that requirement. You don't actually have to get credit for it. It's just more of fulfilling the requirement and completing that WebCape and getting the correct score, the appropriate score, clears that out. So no need to waste 1 or 2 semesters taking an actual class unless you want to take a foreign language. Okay. electives and insufficient summary. So here's the electives part of it. So at the bottom, you're gonna of the page, you're most likely gonna see the elective classes allowed. These are courses that were applied towards your degree. So if your degree requires X amount of electives, they'll apply as many electives that will fit. In this particular case, they allowed 10 elective credits to be applied to this particular student's degree. And then number two, elective classes not allowed. Those were the rest of the courses that the student took. Maybe the student maybe changed their major from one to the other. They had a bunch of extra science classes in there, maybe even some kinesiology and management classes. They were considered electives now because they were not part of their major. They could just kind of go in the electives not allowed because there's no space for them anymore. If the student were to change their major again to another degree that allowed more electives, those would switch from the not allowed to the allowed. Okay, and finally, number three, the insufficient. That's where your F's are going to go, the incompletes are going to go, your dropped classes, your W's. Those are all that's where all the classes that basically didn't have they weren't sufficient to get credit for go. We definitely don't want to have too many of those. Remember, you're only allowed 6 hours or not 6 hours, 6 classes to be dropped. So definitely try not to waste them on there. Now the exceptions. So earlier I talked to you about really sticking to working with your advisor, because your advisors are the key to making sure that if you took a class somewhere else, that it's being counted in Degreeworks. So when an advisor helps you create or generate a waiver or a substitution, they're going to be listed in the exceptions block. Okay. Speaking of degree plan exemptions, so in extreme circumstances, a student wishing permission to deviate in any way from degree program requirements must have permission from your dean, chair for your college at a minimum. So what happens is that if for some reason the class you need isn't offered, or if you took a class somewhere else and then it's essentially the same thing, you and your advisor will work to initiate a substitutional waiver. It'll go to your dean, it'll go to your chair, it'll go to the registrar's office, and it'll either get approved or denied depending on the information you provide. Very important to provide that justification. Something as simple as, hey, I took this course at STC, same different number, but it's got the same information. Here's a course description. Here are the topics. Here's my syllabus. Whatever documentation you have saying that this course was matched over with this course with UTRGV, and there we have it. You can possibly get that class waived or substituted by a different course. The other way you can possibly put a substitution in is if a class is being offered right now and you need to graduate, with the permission of your department and chair and your dean, you could possibly take a different class to fulfill your requirements for graduation. Again, this is not something that they do all the time, but if the situation warrants it, they'll definitely do that. Okay. Now, last but not least, if you notice any mistakes in your degree plan or your Degreeworks, definitely send an email to certification at utrgv.edu. They will help you with information regarding course substitutions and waivers, requirements, and any other information. That other one I'm not going to talk too much about. That's more for graduation and ceremony. This was aimed for our students that are going to be graduating this semester. But again, I figured this information could definitely help out a lot of our students. Anytime you send an email to certifications or anybody, make sure you include your full name, your student ID number, and a brief description of what's going on, what the issue is, so that they can help you out efficiently. Okay? Any questions for me? Let me know. Shoot me an email back. Feel free to call me. But it's best to reach me through email. That's the way I can answer you a lot quicker. But you can always send me a message through Messenger, Twitter, Instagram, like my page, and I'm happy to help you out. Any questions, let me know, and make sure you set up your appointment with your advisor. Registration is coming up pretty soon. I sent those dates already. I'll send them with this email as well. That way you can plan ahead and not have any issues. Any first-time in college student basically any class of 2018 students, you will have a hold in your account. So you won't be able to register until you meet with your advisor. So please make some time, talk to your advisor, and get that hold cleared and get registered. Thank you. Have a good one.